Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha, Giridhari Radha, Giridhari Sri Radhe, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. जय जय श्री श्री राधा केदारी भगवान की जय जगन्नाथ बलेश्वर माय की जय गॉड निताय की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय निताय गौ प्रेमानंद all glories to Assembly Hare Krishna all glories to Assembly Hare Krishna all glories to Assembly Hare Krishna all glories to Shri Shri Guru all glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Wish you all a very happy New Year, Hare Krishna New Year. Just share my screen and we'll start reading from Prabhupada Lilamrita. Yeah. If we start, Shri Prabhupada Lilamrita ki jai. Prabhupada walked quickly. He had free passage on the Sindhya line. He could go home to Vrindavan. But his spiritual master had ordered him to come here. But a strong desire of Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had written while crossing the Atlantic. The holy name of Lord Gauranga will spread throughout all the countries of the Western world. Before night, he would have to find some place to stay, a way to keep up the momentum of his preaching. This is what it meant to be working without government sponsorship, without the support of any religious organization, without a patron. It meant being vulnerable and insecure. Prabhupada faced crisis as a test from Krishna. The instruction of Bhagavad Gita was to depend on Krishna for protection. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully Krishna, be fully conscious of me. You will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. He decided to phone Carl Jurgens and ask him to help. Hearing the Swami's voice on the phone, it was an emergency. Carl at once agreed that Prabhupada could move in with him and his wife, Eva. Their place was close by on Center Street, 5 blocks west of Bowie near Chinatown. Carl would be right over. As Carl found Prabhupada, after Carl found Prabhupada, they went straight to Carl's place, an AIR loft, smaller than the one Prabhupada had been living in. It had a main living area, large and open, with areas for the kitchen and bedroom partitioned off. They were made decorative, indoor plants and a profusion of throw pillows placed all around. Carl's loft was much brighter than the dingy factory-like space in the loft on the boat. The floor was painted bright orange. Carl used to say it looked like the deck of a ship. The walls and ceiling were white and light from 7 skylights filled the room. Carl and Eva settled the Swami in one corner. Prabhupada had left his belongings at David loft and didn't want to go back. So Carl went over to pick up a few essential items. Prabhupada asked him to leave most of his things, including his books, suitcases, and reel tape recorder where they were. Although by this time David had come down from the intense effect of the LSD, he remained crazy. When Carl arrived at the loft, the door was locked and David was inside, afraid to let anyone in, although finally he relented. He had shut and locked all the windows, making the loft oppressively hot and stuffy. Bill Epstein, who also came by the day, analyzed David as having had a drug-induced nervous breakdown, a psychosis, psychosis. And although David was sorry he had exploded at the Swami, neither Bill nor Carl thought Prabhupada should live with David again. Apparently, Prabhupada's chances of making the loft into a Radhakrishna temple were finished. Carl and Bill gathered up a few of the Swami's belongings, and David stayed behind in the loft. He wanted to be alone. Carl Jurgens knew Prabhupada's living habits and wanted to accommodate him with a suitable place to live and work. In a small alcove at one end of his loft, Carl had a small study which he allocated for the Swami. Carl also set up a cushioned dais and arranged the living room around it so that guests could sit on the floor in a semicircle. Carl's wife, who didn't really like the idea of a Swami moving in, agreed to cover a few cushions with Indian Madras material for him anyway. Things went smoothly for a while. Prabhupada continued his morning and evening classes, and many of the very hip crowd came by. Three of his regular scholars lived right in the same building, and a few others, including Carl's brother, were just around the block. Michael Grant, James Crane, even David Allen came once. Don Nathanson, an artist, I was at Carl's loft and the Swami comes strolling in one day. So I already knew he was on the scene from David's. Mostly musicians were coming. They were enjoying the private morning session with him, and that's really strange in itself. Because these people were up almost all night. And he used to do it at 6 in the morning for 1 hour. He would lead them in chanting with his hand cymbals, dot, dot, da, da. It was strange because that crowd was heavy into drugs and they were well read. But for a short period, they used to go every morning, 9 or 10 of them, and they felt very good about it. They felt very good that they did that in the morning. Tal felt that the creative group who came to see the Swami in his studio were all quick to enter into the mood of the Kirtana, but they were using it in their own ways to supplement their own private visions and ecstasies, with no real intention of adopting the disciplines or the undivided worship of Lord Krishna. Prabhupada was their first real contact with a spiritual person, and yet, even without trying to understand, they became absorbed in his kirtanas and in what had to say. Carl would invite them, hey, come on, this is genuine, this is real. You will like it. It's music, it's dance, it's celebration. Carl saw that people just felt good being in the Swami's presence and meditating on the chanting and eating the Swami's cooking. It was unlike anything they had experienced before, except maybe for their moments of creative insight. Yet for Carl and Eva, Prabhupada's simple presence created difficulty. Never before during his whole stay in America had he been a more inconvenient or unwanted guest. Carl's studio was arranged for him and his wife to live alone, using the bedroom, kitchen, and living room anyway the light. If they wanted to smoke marijuana or eat meat or whatever, that was their prerogative. This was Carl's home. He lived here with his wife Eva and their dogs and cats, but now they had to share it with the Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Second. Okay, so Hare Krishna, to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 4, Canto 4, chapter 24, text 74. So that we just praise. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Yasam Tato Jayadodhiraim Astapraeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shruti Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Santrakshu Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Athedam Nityada Yukto Japan Avahita Puman Achirat Shreya Apnoti Vasudeva Parayanaha Athedam Nityada Yukto Japan Avahita Puman Achirat Shreya Apnoti Vasudeva Parayanaha Atedam Nityada Yukta Japan Avahita Puman Achirat Shreya Apnoti Vasudeva Parayanaha. I request Prabhuji, if we, or Mataji, to read, if you can, would like to recite the sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm trying this one.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Athedam nityada yukto japanavahita puman achirasreya apnoti vasudeva parayana. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Athedam nityada yukto japan avahitah puman achirat shreyo apnoti vasudeva parayana.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mata.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'll try.
Yes, Prabhu.
Athedam nityada yukta japan avahita puman achirachreya apnoti vasudeva parayana. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I am also trying.
Hare Krishna, Mata.
Athedang nityada yukto japan avahitah puman achirasreyo apnoti vasudeva parayanah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mata. Thank you. Synonyms. Atha, thus. Idam, this. Nityada, regularly. Yukta, with great attention. Japan, by murmuring. Avahita, fully attentive. Puman, a person. Achirat, without delay. Shreya, auspiciousness. Apnoti, achieves. Vasudeva Parayanaha, one who is a devotee of Lord Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A devotee of Lord Krishna whose mind is always absorbed in him, who with great attention and reverence chants this Shrota prayer, will achieve the greatest perfection of life without purport. Perfection means becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna. As stated in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.28, Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakaha. The ultimate goal of life is Vasudeva or Krishna. Any devotee of Lord Krishna can attain all perfection, material gains and liberation simply by offering prayers to him. There are many varieties of prayers to Lord Krishna, chanted by great sages and great personalities such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Lord Krishna is known as Shiva Virinchi Nutam. Bhagavatam 11.5.33. Shiva means Lord Shiva, and Virinchi means Lord Brahma. Both of these demigods are engaged in offering prayers to Lord Vasudeva, Krishna. If we follow in the footsteps of such great personalities and become devotees of Lord Krishna, our lives will become successful. Unfortunately, people do not know this secret. Na te vidhu swarthagatim he Vishnu. They do not know that the real interest and the highest Perfection of life is to worship Lord Vishnu, Krishna. Bhagavatam 7.5.31. It is impossible to become satisfied by trying to adjust the external energy. Without being a devotee of Lord Krishna, one can only be baffled and confused. To save living entities from such a calamity, Lord Krishna points out in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many, many births and deaths, a wise man surrenders unto me, knowing very well that I, Vasudeva, am everything. Such a great soul is very rare. We can achieve whatever benediction we want simply by becoming devotees of Vasudeva. So the invocation to end now. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashalaakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Padakaya Madhata Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Utapad Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatha Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadut Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Just read the translation one more time. A devotee of Lord Krishna whose mind is always absorbed in him, who with great attention and reverence chants this sutra, prayer, will achieve the greatest perfection of life without delay. So just to do a quick recap. Lord Shiva within this chapter has been glorifying Lord, and it has come to a point where he's offering his prayers and request the Pachetas that to chant this prayer, this stotra, and by fixing their mind on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, which will bring them good fortune, both spiritually and materially. Now, we can see that Lord Shiva himself is giving us the way, the process by which we can guide this mind to achieve spiritual fortune. But in today's age, as Prabhupada mentions within the purport, that not everyone is aware of this knowledge, of the secret, and because of which they are misguided and are busy after material fortune. And because of this misguided knowledge, which is provided to them from very birth, from very childhood, till they grow up, they end up with a misguided mind and are mostly running after illusory perfection of life rather than greatest perfection. And what is that perfection? From school days, it is taught They are provided knowledge to do what? Three things. To earn money so that they can have all the opulence. To gain fame so that people can glorify them. And to have power. Power, control others. And all this for what? For pleasure. In Bhagavad Gita 1.32, Arjuna says, Rajyam Bhoga Sukhanicha. Arjuna, being a devotee of Lord, was put under the effect of Yoga Maya as per instruction of Lord himself. When was asked to fight his family, he became bewildered and said, "Oh Govinda, how will I enjoy this kingdom without my family?" Showing the effects of avidya. But in this scenario, it happened because Lord wanted to give Bhagavad Gita, the instruction of Bhagavad Gita to us. But we can see that by the effects of Yogmaya or the material energy and untrained knowledge and untrained mind, the mind is always trying to control the body for sense enjoyment. In Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Lord says, Mamaivam so jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatan. This conditioned soul is struggling very hard with six senses. And out of those senses, it also includes the mind. So the mind wants to satisfy through senses and always wants to lord over the material nature. Basically, the mind wants the Lord to satisfy our senses instead of the vice versa. Just like Prabhupada within the purport gives the example in 15.7 that how the example of the car, how the individual soul, which is the passenger in the car of this material body, where intelligence is the driver and mind is the driving instrument and senses are the horses, and the self itself, whether as is acting as the enjoyer or the sufferer in the association of the mind and senses. So Prabhupada says in the purport that intelligence is supposed to direct the mind with knowledge. But what we see, the mind is so strong that it overcomes even its own intelligence due to avidya. Because the untrained mind always wants to satisfy the body, which is temporary. Lord also says in 13.9, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, Dukkha Doshanu Doshan. So this body is temporary and it's going to go through. It will take birth, it will grow up, it will get old, and it will die. But even knowing this, because of avidya, mind is so strong that it promotes body consciousness over soul consciousness, and due to which there is anxiety and sufferings. Once the demon king Hiranyakashipu, out of affection, called Prahlad Maharaj and asked him, what do you think is the best of all the subjects you have studied from your teachers? Just like a parent, like a father, when the kids go to school, they want to know what the kids are learning. But here, the demon king asked this question, thinking that Prahlad Maharaj, a child, not knowing anything, might give an answer which may not be intelligent, it'll be naive. But not knowing that Prahlad Maharaj, being a devotee of the Lord, exalted devotee of the Lord, says that any person who has accepted this temporary body and life is embarrassed by anxiety, due to which they are falling down in a dark well of avidya, ignorance, which is the sign of an untrained mind. Because of such untrained mind, one cannot see the true self as soul. Just like Prabhupada gives the example in Bhagavad Gita, just like a mirror that has dust on it, one cannot see them. One cannot see their true self. And they only can see the body. And because of which they cannot realize their true identity. We say that sarira avidya jal jyotindriya tahika. So this sarira is what? It's avidya jal. This material body is a network of ignorance, where the mind is the driver. And jyotindriya tahika, senses are once deadly enemies. So, because of this dust of avidya and the covering on the mirror, one is not able to see or achieve self-realization. So Prahlad Maharaj further continues. This is in Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 5. The conversation that's happening between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj further continues and says that one should go to Vrindavan, where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and should take the shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prahlad Maharaj, exalted devotee of the Lord, who knows about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's a self-realized, he gives us the instruction or gives us the method that one needs to seek out either by going to a dham or an institute like ISKCON that Prabhupada has established for us, where they can get the absolute knowledge. Rajavidya, Rajaguyam, the secret that people unfortunately do not know, and be able to overcome this avidya by training this untrained mind to a trained using intelligence. So this avidya can only be removed when one is self-realized of their identity, that he is not this body, he is spirit soul, and that can only happen through the pursuit of Krishna consciousness. Lord tells Arjuna further in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 30, Dainosmin yatha dehe gavaram yavanam tatha dehantaras prapti dhiras satrana muyati. As this embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So Lord is clearly indicating that we are soul, we are embodied soul in this body, in this material body, and we are transmigrating, we are passing through different stages. But one who knows this is never bewildered, just like how Arjuna was bewildered by such a change, by any change. So we are not this body, we are embodied soul. And one who knows this will not have any anxiety or miseries. Furthermore, Lord gives us the process how to achieve this sober state, how to train our mind. In chapter 9, text 34, Lord says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto, mad yaji mam namaskar. Lord says, engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Will surely come to me. So, Lord is giving us step-by-step process how we need to engage our mind. Thinking in what? Thinking in of Lord Krishna, of Him. We have to become His devotee. We have to pay obeisances to Him. We have to worship Him. We have to serve Him. And then only we can reach. In chapter 15, text 19, Lord says further that Yomam evam asamudo janati purushottama. So whoever knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. So once through this process you understand Lord, then you know everything. You know everything in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you know the absolute truth. And with this Raja Vidya, you can sharpen the X by performing the steps, step by step, that Lord has provided, and be able to cut this knot of avidya. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 7, Text 14, Lord says, Asesa sanklesa samam vidhate gunanuvada shravanam murare kimva punastach charanarvinda paragaseva ratiratmalabdha. So, we need to do shravanam, chanting and hearing of who? Gunanuvada. Of Gunanuvada of Murare, of Lord Krishna, of Sri Krishna. And Gunanuvada is Lord's transcendental name, form, quality, pastimes, paraphernalia. One who is able to do these, who is able to do Shravanam of Murare, will achieve the Samam, cessation of Sankalesha, miserable condition, will finally achieve and be able to overcome this miserable condition and attain all perfection, all material gains and liberation, simply by following this process of offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. And within the purport, as Prabhupada explained, that even Lord Shiva, the Lord or demigod who's in charge of destroying, and Lord Brahma, who is the creator himself, they are themselves engaged in offering prayers to Vasudeva, Krishna. And one who wants to achieve liberation needs to follow footsteps of such great personalities. And how often are we supposed to do this? Prabhupada nicely says, Nityada. Lord, as Lord Shiva says, it needs to be Nityada, regularly, Yukta, with great attention, and Avahita, fully attentive. So if one is able to fix their mind by chanting what? Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is the only mantra as recommended by Mahaprabhu himself, will be able to achieve the goal of life. As Mahaprabhu says, as Mahaprabhu has recommended, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindu. One needs to chant Hare Krishna and focus at the lotus feet of the Lord, will achieve lotus feet of the Lord. And how do they do it? Regularly, great attention, and fully attentive. And through this, we will achieve the greatest perfection of life. So by following the instruction that Lord has provided and explained by Srila Prabhupada, one will be able to achieve, one will be able to go from illusory perfection of life, IPL, to greatest perfection of life, GPL. So how much, when, how, or when should we start? Prabhupada says, without delay. One needs to start this process without delay. So it's now. So to summarize it, we can see the problem of miseries or current situation, current conditions, calamities in life is because of an untrained mind. And Prabhupada has also mentioned that this untrained mind is like a venomous snake. Just like a venomous snake, if bites, will only inject venom, and result will be death. So untrained mind is like a venomous snake. We have to be like the snake charmer. Snake charmer, what does he do? He takes the poison out of snake. And as a result, the snake is no more dangerous, even if it tries to bite you. So this untrained mind needs to be, its poison needs to be taken out. Its poison of avidya needs to be taken out through vidya. And how do we do it? Through chanting and hearing of Murare about his gunanam, about his pastimes, his name, fame, quality. And then only one will be able to get out of this material perfection conception used for sense gratification. And through the process of Krishna consciousness, hearing and chanting, we will achieve the greatest perfection of life. Condition, it needs to be done. Nityada, regularly, great attention with great attention and fully attentive. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there's any comments or questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for the very nice class and briefly telling the content of this verse very nicely. And the few points you have told about is the very important thing is that unless the mind is controlled towards Krishna consciousness, the mind remains uncontrolled or untrained. And the characteristics or the important feature of such an uncontrolled mind that it moves toward sense objects and do not get the real knowledge or the information about the soul, which is eternal, but it remains connected with the temporary body, considering temporary body is everything, and it acts accordingly. There is so we have to control our mind very, very cautiously by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is the important thing. And of course, we have to do it under the instruction of a spiritual master, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita in 434, Tad Vidhi Pranipat. And we have to approach a spiritual master who can train us how we can get that knowledge. And once we get this knowledge, and it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 435 that Jadgatana punarmohevam yashashi pandavo yena bhutani ashishani drakshasi atmani atmani. That means when we have got that knowledge, we can understand that Lord is everywhere and only He is manifested everywhere. And once we have got that knowledge, we will not be distracted towards the sense enjoyment. And in fact, if it doesn't happen, as you have told, going back to the old things, that the senses remains attracted to the sense object. It is clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita in several places that one who is too much attached to sense object, he cannot have the steady intelligence nor a steady mind for transcendental mind to do the devotional service. So we have to train our mind that is very important. And once we do that, as you have told, we know what is the real knowledge, and in that way we can connect it with the Lord and make our life happy and peaceful. And that is the only way left for us as a human being, because once we do not do that, we lose our human life like an animal way, and we get a different body again, and we remain in the cycle of birth and death. And in this way, we lose the opportunity that we have got in this rare human form of life. So it is our duty, as the Lord Shiva is here telling, that we should remember what is our duty, and train our mind to do that, and make sure that we can achieve our goal in this form of life. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. If there's no questions or comments, then I think we'll close it here, Prabhu. Our request, Prabhu.
Prabhu, it appears there's no other. I'm not sure any other. Is there any other person to make any comments? They can make it, or probably Prabhu can close the class. So it appears, Prabhuji, there's no other class, so no other person to make any comments or question.
It means everyone has understood and they will start chanting.
Hare Krishna.
कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। His Grace Sumati Nimai प्रभु की जय। Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glorious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.